Hi Rebecca. Thank you so much for clicking on to the link and watch this video. And I actually really want to commend you for writing this two piece of fabulous script on preparing for your speech number 2. And because I know many people are really busy, I mean I myself are really busy as well, and we have so many things that's going on in our lives that you taking the time and the effort to email me and stay by your commitment to actually do this for me, so that do this for yourself actually, and also for me to have a look at it way in advance of the day that you are going to present, because I know you schedule your speech in February and now it's only January and you have already prepared your speech. I mean, I want to commend you and congratulate you for preparing this thing and putting so much effort and time. And I know this you have time to refine it and make it better, because this is already a good speech. And I know you say that you were out for a road trip and you want to refine and make it better, and I know that it's hard because there's always way to refine and make it better. And I always have this tendency that I will refine and change and make it better and better. And you know, it's like preparing for exam, but we would never be ready for an exam until the day in exam. So I want to congratulate you for sending this thing to me, and so that I could share some of the things that I think you will find really helpful. So right now it's actually Thursday, and right now it's like 11:30 at night, and I'm still in the office because I've been working really late and there's a lot of work for me to do. But I really want to shoot this video for you so that because you have to do your part to send me this, and I want to give you a faster response. And if we meet maybe sometimes end of this week or next week, then we can go through something more practical. But here I have some suggestions that on how you can improve your current script and make it better. And hopefully these are just it's my own personal sharing. And if you think it's applicable, you want to use it, you can use it. But if you don't think it's applicable, you want to stick with what you have here, I mean, that's fine with me too. I'm just here to share a couple of my feedback. So your topic is humanitarian design the new imperialism? And if I understand from this script itself, I read through it maybe about 2 times, and I realized what you do is you start with a questions, and then you follow by a story that lead to your point, where you actually read an article and then you explain what is happening right now, what is happening in globalization, what is happening right now. And then you give a real life example where you meet these wealthy people and they did something wrong in Africa. And then after that you say, what is the questions that you need to ponder about before you go out and volunteer. And then you go on to introduce some of the organizations like Habitat for Humanity and One Brick. And then you sum it up by saying this new passion for volunteering should absolutely be embraced. But as with all interaction with other culture, we should proceed with caution and respect at all times. So that was good. That was the structure of your presentation. I want to bring to you a couple of points that I think is very relevant here. Is what are the purpose of a speech? There are few purposes of the speech, and one of the purpose of the speech is to inform. You want to inform an audience exactly what you want to tell an audience something. Let's say there are 3 steps to making to change your wheel, or to change your tire in your car. So there are 3 steps. So you want to inform them there are 3 steps. What are those steps? The second thing you want to do is you want to entertain. You want to make people laugh, enjoyable, help, just kind of make people laugh, like humor, create humor for people, and you can do this by entertaining. The other thing is people want to inspire. Especially if you see motivational speakers, they want to inspire people. But I think your speech falls under the 4th purpose of a speech, which is to persuade. which is really good because in persuading someone to take action or to buy your viewpoint, yours fall under the second category of persuasion, which is, the first category was take action, to ask someone to take action, and the second category to buy your viewpoint, share your viewpoint. In this case, you are on the second point, which is share your viewpoint. So it was great, and I want to give you some really good feedback and kind of tell you what is the purpose, so that whenever you do any of your speeches, you want to know which are the 4 categories that you want to focus on. Are you trying to ask people to, are you trying to persuade people? Or are you trying to inspire your audience? Are you trying to entertain them? Or are you trying to inform them something? So these are the core things you need to know. And actually all speeches that I do, I want to know exactly which 4 of this category do I fall into. Sometimes it might be both. It might be persuade and entertain, it might be inform and entertain, it might be inspire and persuade. So depends on what is your objective. So these are the key and the foundation of why people do a speech. And that is important because the audience can listen to the whole 7-minute speeches and don't get anything out of it. But if you tell them, my objective is to persuade you to share my viewpoint, they will know this is the objective, and you know that is your objective. So your objective is to persuade people to share your viewpoint, that when we volunteer, we should volunteer with an organization that is reliable, that have actually do these studies, and not only go out and help someone from other countries and volunteer in other countries they thought they are helping other countries, but they are actually deteriorating the lifestyle of people from other countries because of cultural differences. So the first thing you do, you start with your speech like that. Does our desire to help do more harm than good? That is good. That's good. I think that starting with a question is good. But I have 2 ways of questioning that make a good question even better. The first thing is, when you ask a question, you want to ask a question for a purpose. You want to ask a question because you want to engage the audience. So there are 2 types of engaging questions. So you can try, just try this if you like, and if you don't, you want to stick with yours, which is also okay. But I think engaging question is very powerful, because when you come in front of a stage, you want to engage your audience right away. And there are few ways that you can engage your audience. If I were to change this a little bit, this is what I think I would do. I'll say, ladies and gentlemen, does our desire to help do more harm than good? How many of you think it's more harm? How many of you think it's more good than harm? And the rest have no hands. So this might actually make people laugh a little bit. So you structure your questions in 3 ways. First, do you think that desire to help will cause more harm than good? Or do you think that it will do more good than harm? And then you follow by the 3rd questions that say, hey, the rest of you have no hands? And then people will laugh. And this worked many times. I mean, if you have seen me present in Toastmasters, you know I do this so many times. I say, hey, how many of you will buy an iPod? How many of you won't? And how many of you won't raise your hand no matter what I say? Everyone laugh. And this technique could be applied in any 3-part questions that you can ask, and you can get a laughter. And the reason you want audience to engage, or because you want audience to raise your hand, that's when you engage them. You want them to raise your hand, start doing something at the beginning. So these are one good way to do engaging questions. The other thing that I think it's also very good, it's called I'm not sure whether if I spelled it correctly. It's called Metaphorical Questions. So metaphorical questions work in a way that sometimes we haven't warmed up the audience, and if we ask questions, if you can see some speaker when they ask questions, no one responds. But some speakers have warmed up with the audience, they come in, they ask questions and people respond. But there are times when we are still cold with the audience just don't respond yet. So we can use metaphorical question. Metaphorical question is like this. If I were to ask you, do you think that the desire to help would cause more harm than good? I bet some of you here would say, yes, the desire to help might cause more harm than good. Some of you here would say, Rebecca, no, I think the desire for help, the desire to help people would cause more good than harm. Then, in the next 6 minutes and 45 seconds, I would show you why. Sometimes our desire to help would cause more harm than good. It was 6:45 on a Thursday morning. I was reading my Time magazine, the January 2011 article after my return from Nepal. And something in that article struck right away. You know, and then you go on. But you get the point. You ask metaphorical questions and you answer for them. And basically you're telling the audience, if you think it causes more harm than good, or if you think it causes more good than harm, this is where you want to be. Because in the next 6 minutes and 45 seconds, you see the specificity? You see how specific it is? It's not this evening. In the next 6 minutes and 45 seconds, you will understand what I want to tell you. What I meant when I say desire could cause more harm than good. I mean, you get the point. So metaphorical question is also powerful. And if you see just now, I turn around and I say, Rebecca, just I turn around and say, Rebecca, I think desire do more good than harm. I say, you know, that whole thing is a dialogue. It's not a monologue. It's a dialogue. I put your name, Rebecca. Like I say, someone was asking me, Rebecca, no, it's do more good than harm. You know, so you want to put a dialogue inside this metaphorical question, and that is powerful. Using your name, using a dialogue by answering your own questions and telling them whether you think either way. In the next 6 minutes and 45 seconds, this is what we are going to talk about. So, engaging questions or metaphorical questions, both are really good way that you can use. So, the second thing, you start with a story. You start with a story. So, I have a way that everyone's, I mean, if there's a good way to start